Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Isle of Man in the UK. This is John and Mike's MMA Corner.
Hello again. Thank you for coming back, Lewis. So, since we talked last time, Mr. Johny Hendricks has got his bout side with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Now, my question firstly is, do you know what weight Hendricks is at the moment, and are you happy with the weight he is at the moment before he starts getting ready to throw down?
First, I just want to say thank you guys for having me on. It was a pleasure last time, and I love speaking to you guys. So thank you for that. And right now, actually, Johnny's weight is about maybe 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds over where he normally is for fight week, and we're still about 7 weeks away from the fight. So we're very excited as to where he is. We're very excited as to his opponent, and things couldn't be going better right now.
So what's Johnny done then with yourself in this, obviously before the fight got announced then, obviously, because to get his weight in around there, the weight he has now, he must have been looking after himself a lot better than he has done in the past. So what kind of stuff have you done with him?
Absolutely. So the first thing we needed to do, and as I said, my program has 5 phases, and the first phase is kind of just trying to clean up his eating habits now, and that could be, he's a busy man. He's a husband. He's a father. So he's running around with his kids, and sometimes getting the cleanest food or having a pre-made meal isn't feasible, especially in the beginning. So it was really just cleaning up if he had to take his kids somewhere, or that was the only place he had to eat was, let's say, even a fast food restaurant. I was able to tell him what to get there to stay on track as far as what I wanted him to consume for the day. And once you do that, once you stabilize and get somebody comfortable with eating a certain amount of protein, carbohydrates, and fats, then to go from phase 1 to 2, which is then cleaning everything up, it makes the transition that much easier. So that's kind of where we're at now.
Right. So the other thing was, obviously, he needs to train hard. He's going to put himself through a lot. With his weight being the way it is at the moment, like you say, not that far off fight week weight, because obviously he's going to lose a bit of weight with hard training. Will you be looking to kind of keep him where he is then? Will you not obviously want him to lose any more?
Well, great question, because I was just actually on the phone with Johnny for about an hour prior to this phone call, because, we text every day, all day, and then every once in a while we'll get on the phone, and when we're getting ready to shift gears, and that's where we're at now, because, where his training is actually getting a little bit more intense. So I have to change up, again, his meal plans and stuff. And actually, we're gonna work to get him a little bit lower and have him kind of stabilize there. And the point is this, that when you're used to cutting weight, and I say cutting weight because I manage it, so when you're used to cutting weight, you can go into a practice and sweat and lose 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds. But when you're managing your weight, the weight doesn't come off that way. So it's more realistic, whereas the way I have Johnny's body right now, he may not go into a practice and lose 8 pounds, but he's also not going to gain 6 if he drinks a half a cup of water. So it's much safer doing it this way because we're getting his body to adjust in a realistic fashion. So we are going to keep getting him to go a little bit lower, and then probably hold him at about a 180, 185 for a short period of time, and then, fight week, we should be no more than 5 pounds over for that week, which is, 20 pounds lighter than what he's used to.
I was going to say, because he did used to cut a lot on fight week.
He had monster cuts.
Yeah, he did. It was monstrous. And with the IV ban coming in, I suppose it is a lot of fighters will be looking to, like you say, be maybe 5 pounds off on fight week because they can't get that rehydration that they used to be able to.
Yeah, so, Johnny's used to the last few fights, he would come in to fight week actually weighing close to 91, 92 pounds, I think he was saying, which to me is an extreme weight cut, 5 days out, 4 days out. And I think, like you said earlier, with the IV ban, it's going to force guys to have to come in even lighter because they can't rely on, the IV use to help them hydrate afterwards. So, again, I think it's a good thing that the IV ban has taken place.
Can you see a lot of fighters then? In fact, do you know what? Have you had more guys recently contact you not just UFC based, but just fighters in general, maybe coming. Obviously, since the announcement with maybe Eddie Jordan, Johny Hendricks, Aljamain Sterling. Have you had other guys come up and speak to you, maybe direct emails to help with this because they want to get their weight down a little bit lower and just to help themselves without the drastic weight cutting?
Absolutely. After the press release was with Aljamain and then obviously with Johnny, my social media started to blow up, and I'm not being conceited or cocky about it. I can show everybody the emails, and from people who are in the UFC and people who are actually fighting in other organizations, and I had a couple of college wrestlers reach out to me, and and the first thing they all say, because it always comes down to money, and they want to know finances, and what I try to do is I try to look at everything and everybody and just try to give out some advice. I don't charge people to give out some free advice, but if you want me to work with you exclusively, that's a little bit different. But it just amazes me the amount of miscommunication or the lack of knowledge that's even being put out there. A lot of these high-level guys, they all cut weight very similar, very, very similar. So I've had a lot of people reach out to me. I've had people reach out to me saying they used other methods, without mentioning any names. They've tried other programs, and they just didn't feel that great, and they want to know what my system's all about. So it's definitely kind of taken off.
But do you think a lot of them, like you said, they've got quite a similar theme? Do you think due to maybe that's the American base with the wrestlers, because they're used to quite extreme weight cutting in high school with wrestling weight cut, is that maybe something that you've noticed there?
Two things, actually, and this may get me into a lot of trouble with my fellow Americans, but I think that it's America is a horrible nation when it comes to food. They just overeat to begin with. It's funny, as a kid, I used to hear people talking about traveling overseas, going to Europe, and one thing they would always talk about is, man, the portion sizes there, they're so small. And as I got educated, I would say to myself, no, the portion sizes there are the correct portion sizes. The portion sizes here are for a family, and it's for one person. So I think that, they're used to eating a lot more food than they should. And then, yes, absolutely, every time I speak to a wrestler, and most of the clients I speak to do come from wrestling, I come from wrestling, I cut weight the same way that they all did. And yeah, it's a tough mentality to break. And I think because I wrestled, that helps me a little bit explain to them that, hey, guys, I used to also do that, and now I also do this. Like with Johnny, I'm eating what he's eating. I'm down, just as much weight as he is, because I have to put myself through, as much as I can to kind of understand what they're feeling, so I know how to adjust it on the fly.
I must admit, I've just been out in Vegas myself, and I went to one or two buffets when I was there, I'll be honest. But even the plates are bigger.
Yep.
It
encourages you to fill it.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean?
It's like, you want to fill it
obviously,
food,
I've got my limit that I'm used to, and I'm a bit of a grazer anyway. But it's like you'd look around and you'd see people hammering the buffet, and you'd think to yourself, like, surely with the education and the amount of different ways that you can get that information out there must be a more educated view on people's own health. Take sport away from it. Like, no one wants to die young, or not many people anyway. You can eat half healthy, you know what I mean, and increase your own daily health. Yeah. You know what I mean. Like, you haven't got to be like full bore all the time, and. You've got the internet, you've got the written word, and you've got TV, etc. So there's no excuse for not knowing a half-healthy diet, But
absolutely, and so you could understand and share my frustration. Again, the number one cause of death in America is coronary heart disease, and it's curable and preventable. Yet it's still the number one cause of death. That's like saying, this body of water consists of the most sharks and most shark attacks. Well, I'm going to go swim with chum hanging off my belt. Why would you do something, that you can cure and prevent when it's that dangerous? And, it's even like this. I had a friend of mine years ago, his family owned a McDonald's. And he was telling me, I don't know if you guys are getting some feedback. I'm getting feedback on.
It's okay for us.
Oh, okay. So he would tell me that his employees used to get in trouble if when they took an order from somebody, they didn't get them to supersize their order.
Right.
And again, it's mind-boggling that 60 ounces of soda isn't enough. You got to get them to drink 2 gallons of it with their Big Mac and Happy Meal. It's scary.
You have cup sizes out there that we don't have, and I'm not talking about the ladies.
Yeah, we've never. Yeah.
It literally looked like a popcorn tub. I couldn't get over it. It was.
Well, they're clever. The companies. This is not just the US base. It's based around the world. Where, for example, with McDonald's, what they would do is their fries. They would have a salt-based oil. So the saltier chips. Then they would give you the drink, which have extra icing. So it's filled to the top with ice. So it's only a small amount of fluid again. So then that would basically.
Yeah, you can pour your own though.
The chips would. No, but the thing is, what they're doing is the chips would dehydrate you, so they make you drink more, so you're drinking more soda. And it's a very clever ploy that the companies do, because they put extra salt in their meals, when in reality you only need a pinch of salt a day, and they're putting more in their meals than you could actually handle.
But the drink alone is just
soda. Yeah.
We don't even have a cup size like that. In
no, we don't. We won't. No.
It
is crazy.
You're better off.
Yeah. We don't go. I don't do fast food anyway.
Encourages them to walk back up to the counter again.
Yeah, extra cardio.
There you go.
No, but so with Johnny, how did he find it? Obviously, getting that habit, eating differently to try and change his ways of eating. Like, how did he find it at first? Obviously, I must have found it a bit difficult.
It wasn't as difficult as a lot of people probably think, hearing Johnny talk that he, loves food and is not shy about it. But once I explain my philosophy, my way, and that he'll be able to eat majority of the food that he does enjoy, it actually has been very easy. I ask him, hey, Johnny, what do you feel like having? What kind of food do you feel like having? And if he's craving something, like the other day, he was craving something specific, I was able to manipulate it and give it to him, and knowing that it was going to be a healthier version of it, and it satisfied the crave, and it satisfied me. So it's actually been very easy. I just need somebody who's going to listen and communicate, then everything else is very easy at that point.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we've got a holiday season coming up. We've got Christmas just next week. It's next week, isn't it?
Yeah, next week.
Yeah. So I take it as a family man and a man that enjoys his food. Obviously, he'll want to have some kind of Christmas dinner. Is he able to have a full Christmas dinner, and throw that
Christmas pudding
meal away as well? Obviously, there'll be some compromise, I'm guessing, or is he able to go full bore, or what's the plan for that one?
Well, that's the beauty of what we're doing, and I think Johnny enjoys getting back into that cage and proving a lot of people wrong. More than overeating. For Thanksgiving, he didn't overeat at all. He sent me photos of everything he ate. I was expecting it to be a lot more, to be honest, and it wasn't. So for me, the most important thing is, as long as it's a complete meal, as long as he's eating a protein, a carbohydrate, and some good fats, then he's going to eat what he wants and just be in moderation of it. I'm not worried about him overeating. He's not worried about it. We haven't even talked about it. It's just another day at this point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I suppose watching Aljamain perform as well, he looked like he had plenty of energy. His weight cut obviously clearly went well, and I'm sure Aljamain is, still talking to you now afterwards to keep his weight satisfied. How did it go with Aljamain? Did you find, obviously making his, with his debut with you, so to speak, is looking after his managing his weight?
With Aljamain, it was very different than it's been with a lot of other clients. And what that was is instead of me kind of telling him what to do from A to Z, we communicated. He shared his visions. I shared mine. He would ask me what I thought. He would tell me what he wanted to do. And we met in the middle, and it worked very well for him and I. And again, he stepped on scale eating some M&Ms and went in there and looked fantastic. I don't take credit for it. He put in the work, and he was very happy with it. We had a long conversation afterwards, and we're still going to continue, that process as well.
Yeah,
so it went very well.
Yeah, his energy levels, that's the key. It's how he physically looked, how his energy levels were. And a lot of that is down to nutrition, you know. If you can't go into a fight after eating 10 cheeseburgers after you've weighed in, because you won't look well and you won't perform well. So it's a how
long can you stay in that gear for?
And he did, like you say, obviously he puts the hard work in and he performed well. So I suppose it's just nice that your work is kind of evidence to people, you know, before you even get to Johnny performing when he fights Wonderboy. It's quite an interesting battle, and do you know what? I think it's going to be interesting to see Johny Hendricks when he fights someone like Stephen Thompson, because he will have to have a lot of cardio, because Wonderboy's got that good footwork, so he's going to have to be very, you know, it's not going to be one where he can just use explosive power.
Yeah, he's not always going to be stood in front of him.
Yeah, he isn't. Yeah. So we will need to see it, probably a lighter, like you say, a lighter Johny Hendricks.
Well, he'll have to go on a hike a bit every now and again.
So it's going to be interesting to see how he is when it comes fight day, and that's why I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes with yourself and him. You know, hopefully Johnny's, you know, will be posting pictures so people can see how great condition he is.
And he's gonna, you know, we were talking about that. We kind of have a plan over the next few weeks. We're gonna start showing some things, and you're 100% right. And that's the beauty of knowing your opponent as far out as you possibly can, because then you can prepare for it. And two quick things I wanted to touch on that's relative to this. You know, I was speaking to, again, a lot of other fighters recently who have used other programs, tried doing it on their own. And the one thing that I found to be very shocking was every other program and every other person who tried it on their own stopped after they got on the scale. In other words, they would follow a program to make their weight. As long as they made their weight, it was like a free-for-all. And for me, there's as much work that goes into what you put into your body and how after you weigh in and fight day as the entire camp. So I was very shocked to hear and see that these guys step on the scale and then boom, it's a free-for-all. There's a reason that you want to put certain foods into your body and a certain amount. So again, that's going to be even more exciting for when Johnny does that, because he's also never followed a protocol like that.
I was going to say, do you have a set idea then on how much you would like a guy to go in after he's weighed in? Like, how much heavier would you say? Like, would you personally be like, I don't want you to be any more than 10 pounds heavier? If you manage to, like, obviously, depending on the weight class, will vary on their weight. But is there like a little kind of a scale that you have that you like people to keep within? Because if you come in too heavy, you've obviously overindulged, and that means your body's going to be working overtime to break down that food.
All your blood's are going to
all your blood's being used the way I don't need it to be.
Right, and here's the beauty of that is and that's where the fighter comes into play. My bottom line is I don't want my guys walking more than 15 pounds over their weight class. So let's just take Johnny's weight at 170. Let's get him to walk around at 185. And let's say at 185, 182, whatever the number is, whatever weight Johnny felt the best at, whatever weight his coaches say, hey, Johnny's hitting the hardest, looks the best, the fastest at 182 pounds, then we're going to try to put him exactly at 182. In Eddie Gordon's case, he fought at 185. He held 192 the longest. He felt the best at 192. He stepped into the scale at 192. And same thing with Aljamain. He wanted to be as close to 148 as possible. I think he was 148 or 149. So the fighter gets to tell me where they feel the best at, and then it's my job to put them there safely.
Right, yeah, because I was going to say, cause that is quite important, because like you say, because you could either not have enough in you before the fight, or you could have too much, so there is a really fine line.
Yeah, they'll have their own optimum functioning weight,
so it is a fine balance, because obviously you don't want to drink too much fluids and dilute yourself in the sense of dilute the nutrients in your body and the salts. So yeah, it's key, and I think that's kind of interesting what you're doing with them. And it's also giving other people at home listening an idea of what it is exactly it takes to get everything on point. Because like you say, when people weigh in, they think it's a free-for-all. And it's not. Exactly. It's about having that optimal performance by being your optimal weight. And it's all literally got to work, and you've got to be careful, and you've got to just... You know, that's why your advice and what you can do for people is invaluable.
100%, and I appreciate that, because it shows, like, even people probably won't even look at this or didn't pay attention to us, but obviously I'm sure you watched the Weidman and Rockhold fight, correct?
I watched every fight.
Row 13. Right.
And here's what I picked up on. I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but one of the things Rockhold said after the fight was, I was actually shocked at how fast and how tired I got. Do you remember him saying that?
Yep.
Yeah.
So when he said that, boom, a light went off in my head, and I went back, I watched all the embeddeds, and I started to pay attention, and this is what I found. I watched some of his other fights recently. He never looked like he ever got tired in any of other fights. Rockhold's always in great shape, looks great, never had a problem making weight, cutting weight. He brought in a nutritionist for this fight, and I don't know the guy, I'm not ragging on the guy, I'm just trying to state some facts. So he brought in a nutritionist for this fight. He made weight, and then he got tired during the fight. So what that says to me is, tired for me equals fuel, right? So if you're getting tired during the fight, then I'm curious as to what happened with his nutrition leading up to the weigh-in and what he did for nutrition after the weigh-in. Because I think something went wrong there for him to feel as tired as he did. And he looked exhausted in the second round.
Yeah, I believe he had an illness and he was on antibiotics.
Staph infection. He had a staph infection 2 weeks before.
Yeah, he did have a bit of a health problem.
Yeah, I mean that could have played a role too. I'm looking at it from a food standpoint. You know, definitely could have played a role as well.
Well, that's the thing. You think to yourself.
I mean, but also he wasn't fighting Chris Weidman in the other fight. You know, might have played part of it as well. But
yeah, I suppose it is. I suppose when you watch it, you do look at little things like that, and you do wonder when you see. Do you look at certain fighters once they've weighed in, and then once they're in the cage? Do you think he looks a bit either maybe bloated or maybe he's not had enough? Can you yourself tell or notice little things like that?
Immediately, and again, that's not me being conceited, but immediately when I saw Conor step on the scale, and when I saw him step into the cage. Not that there was any doubt that he wasn't going to win the fight. I would have been curious to see if it would have went 4 or 5 rounds, how he would have performed. Because I felt like he did look a little too drawn out. And I think that he would have gotten tired, possibly. So when I watch the weigh-ins, I'm not, your typical fan that's looking for the shoving and the pushing. I'm looking to see, how they look on the scale. And more importantly, people overlook this, but food plays a huge role on our hormone levels. So depending on how they act during the weigh-in will also let me know how depleted they are, how malnourished they are.
I quite like this, you see, because obviously people watch it for all different reasons, and it's quite nice to get a different perspective, especially, your knowledge and your kind of insight into this really does help, because now I can look at maybe fights. I won't have a clue what I'm thinking, like you will, but it does give you a different angle, you see. So you've got all sorts of people, because when you're on Twitter, everyone talks about guys getting on the scales all the time. You just can't avoid it. So it's nice hearing what you're doing. So, like you said, you've got a lot of other guys talking. Are you looking then? Well, will we be seeing your name pop up more with more guys, or are they just wanting? Is this like are they wanting to do it? Are they doing it privately with you? What's going to happen with you?
It's tough for me to answer because, again, I don't do things to really throw my name out there. I only want to work with people who want to work together. I helped George Masvidal for his fight against Benson Henderson. I helped him throughout the entire camp. We didn't do one media release, not one interview, never spoke about it. Him and I just did our thing, and we helped each other. And then about a month later, he put out a tweet thanking me and saying that I really know my stuff, which was very nice of him. And I just do it because I genuinely like helping people. So I do have a number of guys that I'm going to be working with. We'll probably, announce some of the names, and we'll see what happens. But right now, the main focus is Johnny and getting Johnny ready for February 6th. So all my energy is going into him right now. If I have to get back on a plane tomorrow, I will, and be out there with him for, however long it takes. So, you're definitely going to hear some announcements coming out, but, we'll see. My work will speak, and you'll see guys looking better, and if they're looking better, most likely they're working with me than other people.
Yeah, I tell you, I'm looking forward to it because, like I said before about the IV ban, it's quite interesting to see how many fights are going to take it serious now in the sense of getting their weight down and managing themselves a lot better, and they need guys who don't know the knowledge need help,
or even fighting at the right weight.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
absolutely,
it's going to be super interesting. Yeah. The next few months will.
I think there'll still be a shift. People might have a fight and go, "Christ, I felt crap."
Yeah,
and then say, "Right, okay, I'm now going up in weight."
Yeah,
I mean, along with probably millions of others, expect Conor to go up in weight. I don't think he'll actually defend his title. I think he'll take a shift. We've got a lightweight, depending on what we see at the weekend.
But his body, yeah, it's all about his body, obviously, and how he feels. But yeah, I look forward to the future. And look, we've had you on before, but can you let people at home know, not only just people in general, but obviously if any fighters are out there are interested, how they can contact you, either social media, email, whatever you've got?
Absolutely. My website is lutrition.net. Social media, Instagram is lutrition. Twitter is at @Lu_Trition. Facebook is Lutrition. I have a supplement company as well. It's nutrition, nuetrition.com. And you could check me out there. And if you want to email me, it's lutrition@gmail. And like I said, I try to answer everybody's emails. If you follow me on Instagram, my goal on Instagram is to not post pictures of myself working out. It's to try to put information out there to help other people in the best way that I can. So if you have any questions, you could hit me up on there as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, go on, Mike.
Yeah, I was going to say, I promise you I won't send pictures of myself working out either.
Yeah, it's in black and white.
But damn, I look good.
But yeah, honestly,
about 10 years younger.
We look forward to seeing Johny Hendricks evolve, hopefully, to it's almost like a next stage
and
of his
how
career.
he performs as well, because we know he can perform well, but wouldn't it be nice to see him be able to go full bore for those 5 rounds?
I tell you, I'm looking forward to it, and look, have a great Christmas. And thanks for coming on. Have a great New Year as well.
Thank you very much. You guys too. And like I said last time, I mean, you guys have my information. If you guys ever need help, want help, I'll be more than happy to give you guys information. I'll give you meal plans. If you ever want supplements, let me know, man. I'll get you guys some stuff. I love talking to you guys. You guys are great. There needs to be more people out there like you guys that are just genuine, good, honest, and are actually a pleasure to talk to. So thank you very much.
I've got many ex-girlfriends who would disapprove of that comment of more of me.
You just got to dig them up first.
Yeah, exactly.
Send them over to me too, and I have a way with them. I'll change their minds. I'll convince them. I'm very good with other people. I'm just not good with my own ex-girlfriend.
No.
But those supplements aren't legal.
Yeah. That's the Bill Cosby. That's the Bill Cosby line.
Bill Cosby's got a line of supplements for that as well.
Exactly.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Cheers.